Following a very moving ordination service at St. Paul's, Life and Faith's Reverend Keith Nethery spent some time with the Diocese of Huron's newest deacon, Matthew Arguin, as Matthew shared his journey to this very proud moment of his life. I think you'll be inspired.
Send down your Holy Spirit upon your servant Matthew, whom we now consecrate in your name to the office and work of a deacon in the church.
Today on Life and Faith, we are pleased to introduce you to the Reverend Matt Arguin, and I know that Matt is pretty happy to hear that term, the Reverend, off the start. It's been quite a journey for Matt, who has cerebral palsy, but for the time I've known you, Matt, you've never really let that stand in your way of doing what you want, how you want, when you want. So first of all, tell us about the road through life and the road that has brought you to this point where you're now a deacon in the Anglican Church of Canada.
The road has been long but good. It's been a very enjoyable one. I was born and raised in Hamilton, and I grew up in a very devout Roman Catholic family, and so faith has always been a big part of my life. And I had always been involved with different kinds of fundraisers and youth groups and different things of that nature. And then as I grew up and thought about what I wanted to do with my life, I was always attracted to the priesthood and being able to serve others. I moved here to London in 2007 to go to seminary at Huron College. It was a great experience, challenging but good. And then, 4 years later, I'm now ordained as a deacon. It's quite surreal.
And I guess it shouldn't surprise anybody that you have kind of a non-traditional first placing, split between two churches, St. Jude's and Bishop Cronin, both here in London. Tell us a little bit about the ministry that you've been called to at those two churches.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix because the way that both placements started out was we wanted to show or to demonstrate to the diocese that ministry could be done in new and exciting ways, and also to address the issue of how do we integrate somebody with a disability into the ordained ministry. So between Ray Fletcher, who is the rector at Cronin, and Phil Updegrove, who is the rector at St. Jude's, we decided as a team that it would be good for me to get some experience as a street pastor because there's a great need in the eastern part of the city to meet that need. It's a lower income area, and the churches were sort of right smack in the middle. So it made sense to reach out to the communities there and give the church a visible presence there. And I was really excited to take that challenge. And then at St. Jude's, which is in the north end of the city, which is a completely different suburban kind of setting, I was asked to lead the youth that are there. There was about 10 or 11, and to take them through preparation for confirmation. And that's how that started. And I just took that on as a sort of summer project and then rolled it into the fall. And then as we got closer and closer, Phil said, I think you should actually go and do work with the youth and try and organize some activities for them so that they can have an active role in their communities as well, because I think that's one of the lost faces of the church. Mm-hmm. The younger generation, it's not so much that they don't want to be part of the church, it's that they don't always find a way to get in.
So how many times in your life has somebody said, no, you can't do that? And under that understanding, how many times have you proved them wrong?
Well, I sort of don't always think of it in those terms, because for me, it's just my reality. I am faced with some certain physical challenges and also some stigmas that can be attached, because not in a bad way, but people always want to help, and I can understand that. And it's always a struggle to tell them, no, I can do it on my own, it's just going to take me a little bit of extra time. And so I think from an outsider's perspective, they see it as overcoming obstacles. Whereas for me, it's just living my life. And yes, some areas of that life have been more challenging than others and more frustrating than others. But I think that it's one of those things that you have to go in with a good attitude and just say, hey, this is what I need, and I think this is the way that it's going to work out best. And again, keep that ongoing conversation about what you're trying to do and who you're trying to serve and how you're trying to make the world a better place.
We're doing this interview just a couple of days after you're ordained, and that collar still looks pretty shiny. And I remember when I was ordained how it felt and the change that you go through. What's the reaction been inside you? Has ordination been what you thought it would be? And how have family, friends, people in the churches reacted to you?
Well, I mean, we're now just 2 days after the ordination, so I have to tell you, it still looks weird looking in the mirror and seeing that collar on. I'm still not used to it. So it's taking some getting used to, both for myself and for the people around me. But I'm really excited because it means more than just what I'm doing. It means that the church has finally become a place where wheelchairs don't matter. And so seeing me in a collar is an outward symbol to the rest of the community that the church can look past disability. It can look past the physical challenges. And so I think for me, that's the more exciting part. But yeah, you're right. It's been a long 10-year road in terms of education and moving and discernment. And it feels really, really good. And I'm just so glad and so joyful that I'm able to serve.
So what's the next 10, 20, 30 years in ordained ministry look like for Matt?
Well, I'm open to the adventure, let's put it that way. My goal or my dream would be to actually be priested. When that happens is in God's timing, it's not in mine. But first and foremost, the ministry is about service. So wherever I am called to be with other people, to walk with them on their journey, to be part of their life and work and worship, that's where I'll go.
Matt, you've kind of climbed a mountain here for yourself, and you've reached the stage of ordination. I'm sure that there are people watching this program who have limitations. You know, we talked about the fact you're doing youth ministry. Young people who, whether they have a goal to be in ministry or to whatever they want to do in life, that face difficulties, and you've had a chance to work through some things. What do you say to those people today?
I say to keep strong, both within your own prayer life, your own spiritual life. Find something that gives you hope. For me, that was the call to the priesthood. That's what I pursued. That's what sort of allowed me to see through all the crap and all of the frustration. But I would also say to make sure you surround yourself with people who love you and who support you.
I've been to a few ordinations in my life, but I'm not sure I've been to one as emotional as watching Matt being ordained the other night. And so many people were so happy to see Matt Arguin reach the dream of being deaconed, and I know that ordination to the priesthood is not far behind. Matt, you're an inspiration. I hope you know that, and an inspiration of faith, and we wish God's blessing on you on this journey, and I hope that maybe someday in my retirement I'm talking to you about the 30 years that you've had in ministry, and I know you'll do a marvelous job. For Life and Faith, this is Reverend Keith Nethery.
We appreciate your feedback on the show. Or if you have any upcoming events in your faith community, please contact Doug Croden by emailing doug@anchorvideo.com. If you'd like to view any of our past programs, check out the video archives at lifeandfaith.ca. For those with mobile devices, you can also connect from here to our YouTube site.